What is up, guys? Media Master Menard here today, bringing you guys another video. And as you can tell, I've got kind of a new setup going on here. I've gotten a much better webcam so I can kind of up the quality of this channel as a whole, and I'm really excited about that. And the content that's going to be coming out soon and in the near future is going to be a lot better, and I'm hoping a lot more consistent. So I'm glad you guys are along for the ride. But as you can tell, right now we're going to be reviewing Shazam, and so I actually went to the theater just yesterday to see this movie, and I thought it was really good. I had no expectations going into this film, and so that's something that needs to be taken into account when hearing my opinion, but I do think that this was a good movie and definitely worth your time. So let's get into the specifics of that right now. So at the beginning of this movie, we get to see a kid who is transported into a magic world to have his heart tested to find out if he is pure of heart. This is because a wizard is testing people, trying to find the right person to pass his power down to. And this kid is found unworthy as he's tempted by the 7 deadly sins and the power that they offer. And then we get flashed into the future a little bit, and we see another kid who is at a carnival with his mom having a good time, and he actually gets lost. And then we get flashed into the present day, where we get to find out that kid is Billy Batson, and he is now an orphan, kind of going from house to house. He hasn't really found anywhere he's stuck yet. He hasn't found a family, and he still hasn't found his parents, and that's kind of his main objective at the time, is finding his parents. And I do think it is a little bit jarring how at the beginning of the movie you're jumping from one perspective to the other so constantly, and it was a little bit confusing to put everything together, but I think as you got past kind of the 30-minute mark, you understood what was going on a lot better. And what really starts to happen, what really starts to kick off the plot, is Dr. Sivana, we find out, is the name of the man who was in that car crash as a kid, and he's looking for revenge. So he's wanting to get back to this magical realm, and he's researching people who have also had their hearts tested, and slowly but surely finding a way to get to that realm. And let's just say he is the villain of this film, and I think they did an excellent job right off the bat, kind of setting him up as super menacing. We'll get to that a little bit later, though. I'm actually not going to go too much more into the plot because I think it's quite spoilery for the origin story, and there was kind of, not surprises, but a lot of neat little things I saw, so I don't want to spoil anything else for you guys. So let's kind of get more into the nitty-gritty details of this movie right now. And though I don't want to talk about the very spoilery details of this movie, I do want to talk about how I felt about the plot overall, and honestly I was extremely pleasantly surprised. I mean, they found a really good balance between serious and silly, which is something that Marvel has done a great job, but DC really has been struggling with a lot. And I think Aquaman and now this movie are a real big step in the right direction. I think they're starting to kind of get it that superhero movies are supposed to be fun. And I think that they did also a good job of kind of keeping it a very innocent humor. It's not like Deadpool where it's very raunchy humor. It's very safe for everybody humor, I guess. Let's put it that way. You know, I think we got to see a lot of cool different plot points, like why the wizard is trying to pass on his power, and why the 7 deadly sins were a menace in the first place, and how they came to be, and what happened to the other wizards. I mean, there's a lot of cool lore here that maybe I wish they could have explored a little bit further, but I think they did a really good job setting it up and kind of getting the film to where it needed to be very exciting. And what's even more impressive is the fact that a lot of origin stories can end up being kind of slow and methodical and boring, or formulaic like Captain Marvel. I wasn't the biggest fan of that movie, but this one does such a good job of giving you the lore, but keeping it really exciting and fast-paced and just kind of fun. I know I said that before, but that's just the best way to describe it, guys. Like I mentioned before, Dr. Sivana is an incredibly menacing villain, and they set him up right away from the beginning in such a sick way. I'm not going to spoil how they do it, but I think after that they lacked a little bit in developing him, because he kind of accomplishes his main goal, it seems like, in the beginning of the film, and then he's kind of just causing chaos and destruction just for destruction's sake, and he doesn't really have a real motivation. So I thought that was a little bit lacking in my opinion. One other thing I wanted to highlight about this film was kind of the emotional more serious moments of the film, I thought they did a really good job on them. And there was a lot of them that dealt with family and what it means to be family, and if it's blood or if it's something else. And I do wish they would have maybe explored the relationship between him and his blood mother a little bit more. I mean, seeing the interactions between him and the other adopted children and him and Freddy are just really, really cool. I think they did a really good job of nailing those. Even if they were a little bit too much on the head, I think they were a really good addition to this movie and something that I definitely did not expect from the previews. One thing that I really appreciated was the fact that they didn't make Shazam feel ridiculously overpowered or cheap like Superman does. I mean, Superman is just boring in my opinion because he's so strong and there's nothing that can beat him but kryptonite, and it's just ridiculous. This movie does a great job of establishing the fact that there is stakes and Shazam can be taken out if he is not careful, and that's something that that's just really important to do with a superhero that's this powerful and has this much strength and so many ridiculous abilities. I mean, you have to establish that there is some threat of danger to him. I think the acting was a little cheesy, but not as bad as Aquaman, which was very cheesy, guys. But I think it makes more sense in the context of this film that it was a little cheesy. I mean, it's a young kid who gets kind of put into an adult's body, and speaking of which, I mean, the job both of these actors did is incredible. I mean, he acts like totally a young kid when he's in adult form, and that's just, it was kind of hard to believe at first because, I mean, he's so buff and the suit is incredibly ridiculously buff. I thought they could have probably toned that down a little bit, but I mean, he looks so buff and huge, but he's doing such a good job of kind of getting that feeling that he really is still a kid on the inside across, and you can really tell. And a lot of the funniest moments of this movie spawned from that fact, and I do think this movie was really funny. Obviously there were some jokes that they missed on, but I mean, overall it was pretty funny and it was a really good light-hearted time for the most part. I thought the pacing overall was really well done. There was not one moment where I thought it was like, whoa, this is a whirlwind, I don't know what's going on, and there wasn't any moments where I was like begging for more action or anything like that. And speaking of the action, I thought it was pretty well done. I mean, it was nothing crazy, it was nothing terrible. It was good, not great. Let's just put it that way. I do think there was one really sick moment in the last action sequence, in the last big fight, that was really sick. I can't spoil it. It has something to do with, let's just say there's a group of kids that make an appearance, and it was really sick the way they did it. The CGI, I was a little let down by the CGI. I mentioned earlier, I don't know if this was CGI, but his muscles were just ridiculous. I mean, if he's really that big in real life, I don't think he is. There's no way he is. And the CGI of the 7 Deadly Sins, I was a little disappointed with. I thought they could have done a little bit better of a job. But overall, it wasn't a hindrance to the movie or anything like that. But yeah, those are kind of my thoughts on the movie, guys. Overall, I thought it was a really good movie. It's definitely worth seeing. I think the previews really did a injustice. I hope you guys got that one. But all jokes aside, I really do think it's a good movie that's you guys need to go out and see. I mean, DC is really starting to make some noise, I feel like. I mean, Aquaman and now this, and Wonder Woman was also a really good film. They're gonna be doing some things here soon, I think, and they're really starting to push their cinematic universe in the right direction. But I want to know what you guys think down in the comments below. Let me know if you've seen Shazam, what you think about the movie, how does it compare to Marvel, is it good, is it bad? Like I said, let me know down in the comments below. If you liked the video, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I'll be bringing you guys more movies, TV, video game, and anime content. Like I mentioned, I've got a lot of fun and exciting things for this channel in the future. I've also just recently started a Twitch channel, Media Master Menard, so you can find me on Twitch, no spaces in that name. So I'm really hoping you guys can catch me out there sometimes. I'm gonna leave a link to my Twitter down in the description below so you can find out when I post a new video. And until then, this is Master Menard signing off.
Now look at the top, I'm going crazy, who wearing the crown? Scootly bop, doodly bolly, doodly down.